The thing about smoking is it's strangely appealing, which sounds irresponsible to say, but if we're talking about this, we might as well be honest. Smoking creates an immediate problem and offers an instant solution. Once your brain gets used to nicotine, within 72 hours, you'll feel itchy, restless, and stressed. But just one puff will make you feel really comfortable. It's like magic, but with more coughing. But it's more than just a physical addiction. Smoking helps you focus on work and gives you an excuse to take frequent breaks, which is good for your spirit. It's a tool against boredom. It curbs your appetite. It makes bad moments less bad and good moments even better. It's social, fun to do together, and a great way to make friends because smokers always gather in groups. Plus, you get to practice your coolest poses. Lips are one of the most sensitive parts of your body, and having something between them is extremely satisfying. So now that we have an honest introduction to cigarettes, let's have one together to see why it makes you feel so good and what exactly happens inside your body when you do. The best worst thing. A cigarette is dried tobacco leaves mixed with chemicals that make it burn slowly, helping you absorb nicotine and flavorings that make the smoke less harsh. Let's light it up. Cigarette smoke is 95% gases like carbon dioxide and water vapor. The remaining 5% are particles called tar, and they contain a magic sauce: carbon or nitrogen compounds loaded with nicotine. When you inhale, billions of particles interact with everything they pass, sticking to your throat, tongue, and windpipe. It's like a party in your lungs, and everyone's invited. Your lungs are like big, inflated sponges, but instead of soaking up water, they soak up trouble. They have a filter and a barrier. Ciliated cells with hair-like extensions covered in a layer of mucus. Think of them as tiny bouncers doing the cha-cha-cha, sweeping away dirt and germs. But when the tar particles crash the party, they turn the mucus into a sticky brown mess, stopping the dance and paralyzing the cilia. It's like a bad dance competition where the bouncers lose, and the tar goes deeper into your lungs, all the way to the alveoli. Alveoli are like tiny air sacs, where the real magic happens. They have super thin walls, so oxygen can sneak into your blood, and carbon dioxide can quickly get out. Now, here comes nicotine, the life of the party. It sneaks through the thin walls and enters your bloodstream, reaching your brain faster than a cat on a hot tin roof. The positive effects hit you like a ton of bricks. Imagine your brain has a control panel, and smoking is like pressing all the buttons at once. It releases a cocktail of neurotransmitters and hormones that send your entire body into a frenzy. Epinephrine and cortisol make your heart race like you're running a marathon, and your body gets ready for action. Dopamine makes you feel like you've won the lottery, happy and relaxed, and it even curbs your appetite. Beta endorphin is like your personal masseuse, reducing pain and stress. Nicotine is a paradox. It stimulates and calms you at the same time. You become more alert and focused, and your nerves become more sensitive to pleasurable sensations. Then, your whole body relaxes like it's lying on a hammock on a sunny day. All these effects combined create that wonderful feeling. But your brain, being a party pooper, tries to return to normal and fight the effects of nicotine. This is fine, as long as you keep feeding nicotine into your blood. However, the story doesn't end there. Over time, your brain starts to adapt to the constant nicotine supply. It reduces the number of receptors that react to nicotine, making you need more to get the same effect. This is what leads to addiction. Your body craves nicotine, and without it, you might feel irritable, anxious, and even depressed. The vicious cycle continues, and the more you smoke, the more dependent your body becomes. On top of that, the tar and other chemicals in cigarettes can cause long-term damage to your lungs. They can lead to chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, COPD, lung cancer, and other serious health problems. So, while the immediate effects of smoking might seem good, the long-term consequences can be devastating. It's important to be aware of these risks and make informed decisions about your health. But once the effects wear off, your body is left overworked, creating a huge imbalance inside. The more you smoke, the more your body tries to fight back, which is why nicotine is so addictive. You don't feel like yourself without it anymore. It's still great, but now you also need it just to feel normal. If that's all cigarettes did, it wouldn't be that bad. Nicotine comes with thousands of different chemical friends. Cadmium, lead, arsenic, and cyanide, hydrogen peroxide, or nitric oxide wreak havoc wherever they go. Carbon monoxide reduces the amount of oxygen your blood can carry. In your lungs, your cilia cells are having a hard time. It's hard to push the tar-clogged mucus, and some of your cilia cells die off. Your alveoli are sensitive and can't handle this kind of stress. A few of your tiny air sacs pop like balloons, causing irreversible damage. Your body needs to get rid of all this tar right away. Goblet cells pump out even more mucus to catch it, which makes breathing even harder. So you start coughing to get the tar and mucus out. Your immune system is alerted, and macrophages start to eat the tar particles. Smokers have more of these cleanup cells down here because their lungs are really dusty. But nicotine makes macrophages slow and less effective. Even worse, they vomit chemicals that dissolve your lung tissue and cause tiny wounds that turn into scars. Scars in your lungs are not good if you like breathing. Nicotine increases your heart rate while simultaneously ordering blood vessels all over your body to constrict. Meanwhile, toxic chemicals get stuck, causing countless tiny injuries all over your body, injuries that will turn into scars. Those scars leak proteins that create random blood clots, making your blood vessels even narrower. Constricted and narrowed blood vessels put a lot of pressure on your heart muscle, forcing it to work harder to keep the blood flowing. Inside your skin, chemicals activate enzymes that break down collagen, the protein that keeps your skin elastic and smooth. This creates wrinkles. Your skin ages much faster, and you look older sooner. But perhaps the worst part is what happens to your immune system. All over your body, it reacts to the tiny wounds and activates, fighting an invisible enemy, damaging healthy cells in the process. Meanwhile, nicotine makes it slow and sluggish. Your ability to fight off disease is actually worse. We could go on like this, but this is getting old. In a nutshell, every single organ in your body is under high alert and suffers some permanent damage. Over time, fat gets stuck in the scars inside your blood vessels, making them narrower and narrower until they start to suffocate your organs. Your overworked heart beats even harder to push blood through the additional resistance, and your blood pressure goes up. So much so that fluid leaks out of the blood vessels into your lungs, making breathing even harder. The chance of forming a blood clot that blocks a crucial passage in your body increases dramatically, which can ultimately lead to a heart attack or stroke. Most smokers eventually get chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. So many of your alveoli are irreversibly destroyed that you're constantly short of breath, never able to breathe freely. Once you have it, it can only get worse, never better. And then there's cancer. You get a double whammy. On the one hand, you flood your entire system, especially your lungs, with at least 70 cancer-causing chemicals. On the other hand, you paralyze a part of your immune system that's supposed to kill and prevent cancer. This is why cancer is so common in smokers. In conclusion, smoking is the single most dangerous thing you're legally allowed to do. On average, a smoker will lose 10 years of their life. That means some lose around 5 years and others lose around 25. You don't know which one you'll be, but it affects your health even more than that, causing a significant portion of your life to be lived with chronic illness. Oh well, so why don't smokers simply quit? Smokers are often seen as lacking self-control or discipline, which is unfair. Nicotine is one of the most physically and mentally addictive substances known to man. Once you're hooked, chances are you'll struggle with it for the rest of your life. The physical addiction lasts about 3 days, but the psychological addiction is much harder to overcome because you form strong habits, and it's tied to many social cues, like hanging out with friends or relaxing after work. The irony is that most people who start smoking begin as teenagers. The tobacco industry has to target vulnerable brains and get them hooked on the pleasurable effects of nicotine. Otherwise, the industry would disappear. Today, about 1 billion people will have a cigarette, which is a huge number, but at least the trend seems to be looking good. In 2000, 34% of adults smoked. In 2020, it was only 23%. However, in 2023, about 8 million people died because of it. But there is hope. There are many successful smoking cessation strategies. People who quit before the age of 35 on average don't die earlier than non-smokers. If you're older, even quitting late can add years to your life. It's like climate change. Every effort is worthwhile, even if the damage has already been done. We're not the morality or health police. You do what you want, but at least be aware of what exactly you're doing and why you're doing it. Most people watching this don't smoke, so maybe never try it.